In this video, we're going to be replacing the upper and lower felt on the keyboard of a Yamaha Clavinova CLP-820. If you have a different model number, the build might be slightly different, but hopefully this video helps you with your repair. Over time, the felt on a keyboard gets compacted and noisy, as you can hear here. You can order replacement felt from Yamaha, spend about an hour and a half replacing it, and you're good as new. Okay, so these are the felts that we ordered from Yamaha. There's a top and a bottom felt, and my wife called Yamaha directly and they were very helpful, so that's what I'd recommend, because otherwise you got to figure out which exact felt you need for your keyboard. Okay, so the first step is, of course, to unplug your keyboard, and then you're going to need to access the back where you're going to remove some screws. So I'll show that to you. So for this particular model, the top 3 screws is all you need. Once you get those off, top comes off and you have access to the inside. So the next step is to remove this control panel here so we can access the keyboard and pull it out. And you can tell that it's held on by these brackets here with a Phillips head screw at the bottom. In addition to the Phillips head screws that held the base of the brackets there are 2 screws that are at the top of the control panel there that need to be removed so that you can lift the control panel off. Alright, so now my assistant is going to remove the final screw from the control panel on top. Go for it. A great tip is, as you start to remove your screws and bolts and things, make sure you keep them labeled, maybe on a piece of paper or something like that, so when it's time to put them back, you know where they go and you don't get them mixed up. Okay, so I've removed the Phillips head screws from the brackets and from the end point on the control panel. So now it's just going to be moving the control panel back. So let's pull this back. This comes back very easily, but now that that is out of the way, you can clearly see the screw there that needs to come out to remove the end piece, and this other one over here. Okay, so I've removed all the screws behind the keyboard, removed these end pieces. The end pieces come out easily. One on this side probably will come out easily, but it should be connected to wires because you've got a button for your power. So I'm going to have to just kind of slide it out of the way, tuck it behind the speaker, and we're good to go. Now, lifting up on the keyboard, you can see that, obviously the keyboard is connected to the rest of the piano. These wires are going from here to the motherboard, just like the control panel. There's actually 2 boards underneath the keyboard and 2 patch cables. So there's like a wider one and a shorter one. Those do not need to be removed. It's just this one here, because that's what goes to the motherboard. And then if you stick your fingernail kind of like under the front corner of the green piece and gently pull down, you do not want to pull on the blue wires, you will ruin your keyboard. Pull that out, and that's unplugged now, and the keyboard should come out. Let's see. Shouldn't be anything else connecting the keyboard this point. Yep, it's out. All right, so I've got the keyboard out and set on my high-tech workbench, which is a couch with towels on it. And we're going to be pulling off the top and bottom felt, which is, looking at other videos that I've seen, it looks like it's a kind of a long process, but we'll just get started and see what happens. I think the top felt isn't in terrible shape on this particular keyboard, but the bottom definitely is. When we play this keyboard, it's when you release the key, you hear it go thunk down on the bottom. So definitely the bottom needs to be replaced, and it's always a good idea to just do the top while you're at it, because this is not a process you want to repeat often. Okay, so after working on these a little bit, the first couple inches came down just fine, but then it started to rip because the adhesive is sticking to the bottom of the plastic here, which is what it's supposed to do. It's holding well, but it's making it really hard to peel up. So we're gonna flip it over so we can see better. And I think the goal here is to get that felt off with as much of the adhesive as possible. And we may have to go back and use maybe a little knife or something to scrape up any tape that's left. Okay, so the adhesive is definitely sticking to the plastic and peeling off of the felt. The best way we found to remove the adhesive at this point was to use a little pocket knife, lift the edges of the adhesive off the plastic, and then pull with your fingers. The whole process took about 20 minutes. Okay, so the next step is to peel the adhesive back off of the upper felt, and then we're going to lay it right where the previous one was on top of the plastic, like that. All right, Alden, go ahead and peel it off there. It's hard to get started, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Here we go. Why don't you just take this? Now keep the sticky side up so it doesn't stick to anything. Okay, toss that aside. All right. Let me get my side started. You just hold yours up and don't let it touch anything, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna work it your way. I have to move it underneath this first key. Okay, I'm just going to come your way, all right? So just keep your end up. And just push down. All right, so now we're removing the bottom felt, which is much easier to come up. Take your time with it. We're just going to peel it up all the way across. Take your time, Alden. See how you're leaving adhesive behind? Okay. Let's get rid of that. Now we're going to have to take that little pocket knife and scrape up the tiny bits of adhesive that are left down there. That came up much, much easier than the top felt.
Definitely.
We are going to peel off the backing and lay it down, and that should do it for the felt. Get it started. Oh, you got it from your end? Good deal. All right. All right, you want to line up your end? Okay. Line up this end, everything
Nothing in between. Okay, hold on 1 second. Slow down. Don't push down yet. I'm trying to get it lined up. And then we push down. Okay, now you can kind of push gently. Okay, that's it. So now we're just gonna clean out the inside of the piano because there's some dust, and then we'll put the keyboard back and just reverse all of the steps. Fingers crossed.
So a very important last step is to make sure you reconnect your keyboard to the motherboard. That's with the blue wires, little green clip that snaps back into place. Then you can lower the keyboard down. Make sure to check the alignment of the holes in the back that connect the keyboard to the housing. Once we did this, we actually played it just to make sure everything was connected properly. And we cleaned the keyboard, which is a good idea before you put the control panel back. The end pieces slide into place and are attached with one screw each on the left and the right. Drop the control panel back down into place. Replace the screws at the bottom of the bracket and at the far left and right ends. Then you're going to put your cover back on. And replace the final 3 screws on the back. Now you're all done. It's time to play something.
Yes.